So last week, AMS2 got an update where they added quite a few cool things and also added more realistic, you could say, physics to the cars in AMS2. And more specifically, the GT3s. So today, I'm going to see how this change has gone. Because we saw what they were in previously in like 1.6.6. Then we saw the last update where they improved even more, and now they've improved a lot more. So we're going to see how they compare by looking at telemetry. And obviously we're going to try it at Spa because that's the track we have been doing it before. But we're going to start with the Porsche since that is a car which I've heard interesting things about. I've heard that it's become very good, but I don't fully know how good it has become because I've heard mixed feelings about this car previously, that it's not the best, has had a few issues. I'm not so sure. Let's have a drive. So obviously we do a default setup, and we're going to not play around with the traction control since that is for later on. So if we're going to drive like that. Okay, yeah, so what they've done is basically made it so the cars are basically the TC works a bit better. And as far as I understand, what they've done is made it so the differential works a bit more properly, and they have changed something else which I don't fully remember on these cars. Okay, this car feels really stable. So yeah, this car feels very different, I would say. And then with TC, they work quite well. Traction control, you barely hear it, but you can feel it working. What I also like is you can still use the pedals to rotate the car, even with the aids. Like through there, you could do it slightly. I'm gaining on my best lap time. Well, in around the best recorded one, because I think I've done a better one, but let's not talk about that. But the cars do feel a lot better. And yeah, through here they used to have issues, I remember. But remember though, this is without traction control. So the cars do so the car's actual natural grip or the mechanical grip might be a bit different from what you see here with traction control, but so far so good. And also lifting off the throttle, this handles a bit like a front wheel drive car where you lift off the throttle and it seems to work better. But you can really just slam on the throttle and it just pushes, and you can see I just gain time. So I mean, it's not the hardest thing to drive, I say, whilst overshooting it, but you can still, as you saw there, go a bit wide. So let's just see if I can go. Yeah, I can go full throttle through here with this. So let me just switch cars to the Lamborghini and see how that handles. I will just show you that through here you can clearly see that it's still possible to lose the car when going on throttle, if you do it when it's in the wrong section. So it's not like it will save you from all decisions. So now let's head off. So now we are in the Lamborghini. Hopefully they're not the last Italian GT3 car we get. And okay, so with cold tires you can still rotate the rear, it seems. Interesting. I can see my quickest lap time was a 2:16. Will definitely not be a 2:16 now. I can probably beat it still if I do quite well through the corners, but I think that is highly unlikely. Oh, you can easily control it through that. That's cool. But yeah, it seems this car seems really slow. Could be the gear ratio. Okay, yeah, second gear is more appropriate for that section. But yeah, this car, so far we have to have just a little further drive. But the braking feels fine. The throttle feels good, actually. Cornering definitely feels worse. I prefer the Porsche. I do not know if the Porsche might be my new favorite car. We'll have to try the Aston Martin and see. But yeah, this car, I used to love it, but now it just seems to understay everywhere. But what I'm interested in to know is why the Aston Martin isn't super competitive around here. So yeah, this car just seems slow. Could be the default setup, I have no idea. Could be me too. But yeah, this car just feels slow, but it still feels a bit planted. Not as planted as the Porsche. Though the Porsche you could lose still. So that's an interesting point. But this car doesn't feel as agile. Yeah, so it feels very nice, this car. You do get some throttle rotation, but not too much. As you can see, I'm just getting quicker and quicker. Maybe just wait through here. Okay. So yeah, down the stairs is quite crazy in this car. But now let's have a final look at the Aston Martin and see how that handles, and also do some telemetry. Okay, so with the Aston Martin, we will do the first lap or two to just judge the performance. We will do with traction control. And then I will pause the video so you won't see anything. I'll do zero traction control, and then I will see how the difference is. And yeah, the brakes are a lot better. Yeah, it gets on throttle quite well, but then loses it on its acceleration, it seems. And then yeah, it's very horrible up Eau Rouge. I think I can see why this isn't seen as competitive around here. Okay, so this lap time is compared to my best lap time in the Aston Martin. So okay. Yeah, the cars feel harder to drive when cold, which is something which is understandable. Okay, yeah, this car feels very dull now. I much prefer the Porsche now. The Porsche just feels nimble. I remember it used to feel very good before too, but it still had a few minor issues in its performance, in my opinion. Don't fully remember what it was. I believe it was rear stability, but there were a few reasons why I didn't like it. Now it feels really nice. Hope it is competitive though. Yeah, you can see through there I'm gaining a lot of time. I don't know if that's due to traction control or not, but yeah. Let's do another lap. And you can see I can gain quite a bit of time through there. Now let's hope I can gain a bit more lap time up here. Okay, so now I lose out. Yeah, so it seems like they've done something with it, which doesn't make it as good through there. And I gained lap time through there. That's nice. Yeah, you can see I'm still quite quick. Yeah, so I have, the cars has understeer issues. You can brake a bit later, it seems. Okay, so I'll switch now to no traction control, and we will see how the telemetry looks. So now we're looking at the telemetry, and you can see the white parts are the time I did previous, like a long time ago. So in August that was. And the second time was just now when I drove. And I tried to choose similar lap times, but also my quickest lap time was a second ahead. So if we look over the data, you can see that if we compare the braking, you can see sort of I'm braking a bit later, which I don't know how much that actually gives me, but also, yeah, it seems like, or just through there, I'm braking a bit later. But also, if we check the track inputs, okay, we can't fully see it here. Maybe here, no, not here, but you can see, like, the speeds, maybe. You can clearly see, seems like, actually, yeah, it seems like my lap time through Eau Rouge was quicker with the previously, but also it seems like I decelerate quicker. And then we go through, and yeah, it seems the same, except the acceleration seems a lot lower. And then if we check your ground speed, you can clearly see it does seem like I get this. It's, I don't know. It seems like it's roughly the same. It's not so clear there. Maybe here, if we check the slip angles, no, traction circle maybe. You can see there is no real difference. See, although it seems like the low speed grip, it seems like there is a lot more. So you can see, like here clearly, if we remove, you can see the white. you can see where it gets added, and you can see it's a bit, it seems like you have more grip when accelerating at certain different angles. And it also seems like, yeah, they adjusted the rake, it seems, the setup, because I did not do that. Or is this, I'm not so sure if it's relative, wait, if we have just a quick look. Okay, yeah, so it is the setup which has changed, it seems. Or it's just producing more downforce, I'm not so sure. And yeah, do we have any real things? You have the slip ratios here, some weird thing happening, and then yeah, if we look through up here, yeah, this I have to fix because the front seems to be going roughly correctly, whilst the rear seems to be going slower, which it should be going quicker, which seems a bit odd to me, but I'll have to check that out later. Then the suspension, you could see the ride height I discussed. No, seems the same actually. Bumpiness, it's like, it's very confusing, like what actually is the difference. But if we have a look through here, yeah, maybe if we have a look through the slip angles, then maybe. Oh yeah, and this is the, when I calculated the tire diameter, which doesn't seem to work that well. But if we just have a look here, it seems like slip has become a bit less, but it still seems like you get, or no, yeah, no, it still seems like you get the same. Seems, or actually it seems a lot edgier with the peaks, because if you have a look like the white here, you have up and then down, but here you get like these mini peaks. And then here too, the peaks, you get bigger peaks, it seems. So it just seems like, in general, it seems like the slip comes and goes quite quickly. And then if we check this lap time, which is a second quicker, you can see the slip is about the same. So it's very confusing. So they fix some differential things, but then telemetry-wise, it doesn't seem like they did a lot. If we have a look at the traction circle, yeah, this is very confusing. Because it seems like, because we know they're fixed and they can cars feel a lot better. But it's still confusing to see what has actually changed telemetry-wise. Because you have a look and there's not a lot here which you can actually say is different. So maybe, and here, wait, if we have a look at these. Okay, so these get actual proper, seems like more correct. No, that's the front, and then the rear, yeah, gets very different. I have no idea. We'll have to check that out later. But what do you think about these changes? Are they good? Are they bad? Have they finally made AMS2 good? Can you clearly see a difference in the telemetry, which I couldn't? Comment down below. And whilst you're down there, please hit the like button and also subscribe. My next video, we'll have to see what it's on, because I know FIA the 2005 Le Mans, Spa, Road Atlanta, yeah, Road Atlanta, and Sebring will be added, but we don't know when. It seems to be like close, but not too close. And then, yeah, and then you have those cars. So maybe I make a video on AMS2 or I make a video on Race Room. We'll have to see. But until then, I've been Racing Legend. You've been my amazing viewers. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.